Hey guys, it's Miss Delcambre. This video we're going to be adding to our 9.2 notes that we've already have done about fraction, decimal, and percent. So let's get out our journal and a pencil. So I'm going to open up my document camera. Get that going here. And you just need your journal. And we're going to continue on to our notes that we already did the other day on 9.2, which is our percents, fractions, and decimals. We're going to kind of add on to that. Now, let me focus. Okay, so back on Tuesday, I said that there's some more benchmark fractions. So I want to make sure that we have these written down. So we're going to continue with benchmark fractions or benchmarks, eighths, and tenths. I guess you can put an S up there. Continue with benchmarks, eighths, and tenths. So we're going to start with your eighths real quick. Let me zoom that in. Okay, with an eighth, we have 1/8, which is equivalent. Okay, so fraction decimal is 0.125. So it's 125 thousandths, which is equivalent to 12.5%. All right. Now I'm going to show you why this is in our next fraction, which is 1/8, and then we have 2/8. But 2/8 simplifies to 1/4, which is 1/4. Well, I know 1/4's value is 25 hundredths, like 25 cents, which is 25%. So if I split 25% into half, it doesn't go into evenly. It gives me a decimal. So half of 25 is 12.5. Therefore, 1/8 is 12.5%. So that's the reason why that 1/8 is 12.5% or 125 thousandths. Also, if you did this as typo, you will find that out. And I'm going to do that right over here to the side just to show you. All right, remember top in, bottom out. So 1 in, 8 out. I'm going to throw a decimal and some zeros behind there. 8 can't go into 1, but 8 can go into 10 one time. Gives me 8. 10 minus 8 gives me 2. I subtract. I bring down my 0. Okay. 8 can go into 20. Well, 2 times 8 gives me 16. Subtract. I'm left with 4. Bring down a 0. 8 can go into 40 exactly 5 times. 40 with 0 as my remainder. So there we have it, is 1/8 as a fraction, 1/8 as a decimal, 125 thousandths, and as a percent, 12.5%. All right, so as long as I know these two with my eighths, I can do the rest of my eighths, okay, because it's basically adding 12.5 to it. All right, so 3/8 cannot be simplified, but if I know what 1/8 is and 2/8 or 1/4, all I have to do is add those together, and I get 37.375, 375 thousandths, or 37.5%. Okay, then going down to 4/8, which is equivalent to 1/2, and that doesn't change. So like half a dollar is 50 cents, so it's 50 hundredths. So I know that that's, if I double 1/4, I get 1/2. Well, I'll get 2/4, which reduces to 1/2, which is 50 hundredths, which is 50%. Or if I add 12.5% to 37.5%, I get 50%. Okay, 5/8 cannot be simplified, but I know if I have 4/8 and I add a 1/8 to it, I get 62.625, 625 thousandths, which is 62.5%. Okay. Then we have 6/8. All right, 6/8 reduces to 3/4, which is 3/4. And the value of 3/4 is 75 cents, 75 hundredths, which is 75%. And then I finally have 7/8. And 7/8 can't be simplified, but I know that 7/8 is just 1/8 more than 6/8. So I would just add 12.5% to 75%. And I get 0.875, 875 thousandths, or 87.5%. Okay. Now those are your eighths. Okay. And your tenths are just what have been on your FDP at the bottom of your builder. So real quick, 1/10 is 1/10, which is 10%. All right, 2/10, which is 1/5, which is 20%. So I'm not, I'll put that down here. 2/10 is equal 1/5, which is 20%, which is 20 hundredths, or 2/10. Then we have 3/10, which can't be simplified. So that's 3/10, which is 30%. So if you think of tenths, think of them like dimes, guys. 4/10 reduces to 2/5, which is 4/10, which is 40%. 5/10 is not simplifies to 1/2. Now think of like quarters, which is 50 hundredths, or 50%. So 5. Then you have 6/10, which simplifies to 3/5, which is 6/10, which is 60%. All right, then we have 7/10, which can't be simplified because 7's prime, which is 70%. 8/10 simplifies to 4/5. 8/10 is like 8 dimes, which is 80 cents, 80 hundredths, 80%. And then finally 9/10 cannot be simplified, which is like 9 dimes, so 9/10 or 90 hundredths. Either way will work, which is 90%. Okay? So these are the conclusion of those benchmark fractions that are most likely seen, are tenths and eighths. Okay? Now on your next page, we're going to talk about how to go from a fraction and decimal percent. Just kind of like what we did yesterday, trying to find it as a denominator that's 100. So I'm going to put 2 fractions down. So I have 7/28 and 12/16. And how we're going to find what the FDP is without doing any top in, bottom out, any typo, is we're going to reduce. Let's see if we can reduce to get to 100. Okay, so let's see if I can reduce it or simplify it to get to 100. So what can both go into 7 and 8? Well, 7 can, so I'm going to divide by 7 and see if I can simplify this fraction. So 7 can go into 7 one time. 7 can go into 28 4 times. Now I can get to 100 by multiplying both by 25. All right, 1 times 25 gives me 25. 4 times 25 gives me 100. Bam, I have my number over 100, so I can make this as a percent, 25%. And I know this as a place value would be 25, and the 5 would be in the hundredths spot. So it's 25 hundredths. So 7/8 is also equivalent to 1/4, which is also equivalent to 25 hundredths, which is 25% of 25 hundredths. Okay, do you see how the same fractions just represented in a different way? Okay, let's look at 12/16. Same thing. I'm going to see if I can reduce that fraction so I can get a nice little number that can get me to 100. Okay, well, I can see that both 2 can go in there, so I'm going to take out a 2. They're both even, so let's see if we can divide by 2. Okay, so 12 divided by 2 gives me 6, and 16 divided by 2 gives me 8. Okay, I can't, but look, they're both even, so I'm going to take out another 2. All right, 6 can go into 2 3 times, and 2 can go into 8 4 times. Bam, 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 benchmark fraction. So I can make that into 100, or I can memorize it, that I can multiply by 25, and 4 times 25 gives me 100. 3 times 25 gives me 75. So that benchmark fraction, 75 hundredths, 75%. And as a decimal, it's 0.75. So do you see how I can go from this fraction, and if I need to find the decimal, I don't have to do a top in, bottom out. I don't have to do Tybo. I can see if I can reduce it to get to a nice friendly fraction that I know that I either know as a benchmark fraction that I can convert and find its percentage and decimal. Okay, so key thing to do, guys, is just check out if you can reduce the fraction to get to 100 before doing top and bottom out. Just kind of look at the fraction and go, hey, can I reduce that? Does that give me one of those benchmark fractions that I need to memorize? All right, so that does it for me today. Remember, if you're in Miss Peeler's class, make sure you're keeping up with her Google Classroom. If you're in my class, make sure you're keeping up with your Google Classroom, and we have an Ed Puzzle assignment. So I will see you later. Bye.